Alright, I think it's about time that we had this conversation. The conversation as to why in the hell am I playing Dynasty Warriors 9 in 2020? Well, it's simple really. I wanted a game that I could just jump in and get that satisfaction right away without, the time investment. And I've been going hard on a lot of MMOs. Single player games have been going here and there, but I like the Dynasty Warriors series. I like Muso games in general, and the idea of there being an open world Dynasty Warriors game that I haven't played was kind of just nagging in the back of my head. So I went into this knowing or thinking that I wasn't going to have fun with it. That was the whole thing. Is like everyone said the game was bad, so I was expecting to have a bad time. Unfortunately, I had a good time. I had a lot of fun. And I'm 27 hours into the game, and this is like the third day that I've owned it.
West next, huh?
So we're gonna have to have a long and in detail conversation about why Dynasty Warriors 9 has my attention and whether or not it should get yours. Now let me preface this by saying that I don't have the context of the game on launch. I heard about the problems that the game had. I saw a lot of it on like videos and stuff, but I myself didn't play it. I didn't own the game back then, so I only have what's right in front of me right now. And what this experience is something that they've worked on. It's been patched. It's a lot better than everything that has been reported on in the past. A lot of the bugs and the issues are things that I haven't run into. The game has never crashed on me. There are some frame rate dips, but it's a Muso game. Like, if there's not a frame rate dip, then am I even playing Dynasty Warriors? But the biggest complaints were the empty and boring overworld. Like, it's a giant open world with not a lot to do in it, and I don't know. I find quite a bit of interesting stuff happening here. So yeah, let's just take a quick peek. Let me go over some things that they've probably fixed and things that I personally like about the newest installment of Dynasty Warriors. I'll go ahead and skip this. Combat. So, the combat of Dynasty Warriors is has usually been pretty simple. You think that a game this simple doesn't really have much to talk about in the way of combat, but this particular game does. So, obviously, you're familiar with the basic square attack and your special triangle attack. Square, square, triangle, and when your bar is full, you hit the circle button, and you get your special move attack. And you hold that down, and you get a big finish up there. Now, all of that's still here, but there's something a little different. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with that. In Dynasty Warriors 9, there are 4 additional attacks that you get by holding your R1. Now, I have the options for stun, launch, special, or knockdown. And each of those moves has a follow-up attack. So we'll go over here. So there's that. I get a little tornado. So each of the moves that are mapped to the base buttons here and their follow-ups are all different depending on what weapon type you use. Now the special attack button is unique to whatever character you're playing. So even though I'm using Lulin Kui's Shuriken weapon, if I do special, I pull out my character's favorite weapon, which is a sword, and do an upper slap. That's different for all characters, 84, 90, 92 characters. Every single character's special attack is different. That and their Muso attacks are unique specifically to them. So you can experiment around with all the different weapons and weapon combinations that you like on, different characters. Next, we can talk about missions. On the right, you'll see that there's a yellow scroll that's open that says Defeat Zhao Yu, positioned at Chi. That's the overall goal of this entire chapter. Once this mini-map goes away, I can show you the second part. The white scroll underneath it is a kind of side objective that pertains to that main objective. Completing that is going to make the main objective a little bit easier. It'll do stuff like boost morale, add additional ally officers to your side, and it depends on the story context of that chapter. But essentially, as you make your way towards that main objective, in this case it being defeating Zhao Yu, I'm taking on small objectives to make the overall one easier. Now there are also side quests. It's kind of difficult to make the distinction, but these are going to give you stuff like money, materials, and items, but they aren't going to really affect the main story or the side objectives that are tied to the main story. And you can tell what those look like by, let's see if we have, I know it's a little clustered on this map, but the side quests are these little chat icons with like the sweat markers coming out of them. That's what those look like. And you can do those at your leisure. If you want to rush your way towards the main objective, you can do that. It'll be tougher, but you can. If you want to just mess around and do side quests, you can do that as well. But it is important to note that fast traveling and everything that you do in this open world is all managed in real time. So stuff like your ally officers are always going to be moving towards whatever objectives they've been assigned. So if you mess around for too long and your ally officers are going against something that they can't handle, or they're expecting your help, they will fail, and your morale meter here will reflect that. And it is possible for your main commander to die. So it's never happened to me before personally, but it's something to keep in mind while you're going around doing what you do. Before I forget, another aspect of the combat is that down on the D-pad will pull out your bow, and right and left on the D-pad select various types of arrows. Most of the time you're going to use your bow for hunting different animals, tigers, bears, wolves, and stuff like that. But there are certain types of arrows that are particularly good against enemy siege weapons, and sometimes you have to pick off some pesky bowmen at the top of towers and whatnot. So that's there. While I'm on the subject of left and right, without the bow out, are going to cycle through your loadout of consumable items. That's stuff like strength pills for temporary buffs, healing items, increase your Muso gauge, other useful stuff like that. And then up on the D-pad is the music, so that's the full range of that. You'll also notice that I've been picking up, get some items from this guy right here. I've been picking up gold and some other useful goodies. Let's go to some last base guy. We'll go over the items now. So, in the bottom right, you'll see that I'm picking up all sorts of little items. These are for crafting weapons, synthesizing materials, and I can also make gems. These are items that increase, damage and add elements to my weapons. And let's see, what else is there? There are also accessories that give permanent stat boosts to your character, whatever character has them on. And let's see. Oh, there's also an item called Books of Muso. So this will also go into character development a little bit. As you play the game, you'll level up the officer that you've chosen up to level 100. I believe 100 is the max. You'll see the experience, their stats, the weapons that you have on them. And then you go into upgrade, and you can, as they level up, they get 3 skill points per level, which you can put however you'd like. But the Books of Muso can be exchanged for 3 points each, or you can use them to reset the stats of your character so you can put them in different places. So they're really useful to have. One of the many complaints that this game got is that, honestly, this is something that I hear a lot about the Muso series in general, is that it's too easy. You'll see that I'm level 91, and these guys are level 37, and this guy is level 37. But here's the thing, and this is something that a lot of people don't do or aren't willing to do. You go into your game settings, you change the difficulty all the way up to Muso, which is a new difficulty mode that was recently added. I normally have the difficulty set to Chaos at least. I don't know why it was set to hard. I must not have applied it. But you know, if you're like having such an easy time at your board, like I was just now, go into your menu and turn up the difficulty. Dynasty Warriors is a really hard game if you just apply the difficulties correctly. It doesn't have to be baby's first Muso. So yeah, as I was going through this mission, trying to find footage for the video, I noticed that, hey, these guys are significantly easier than what I was dealing with on my other characters. I had to go and check that difficulty. Don't be afraid to turn up the difficulty.
Another victim has fallen before me.
Difficulty affects more than just, their health values and how much shield you have.
Things turned out
Whether or not the enemy uses, special moves, combos, or even their own Muso attack is determined by the difficulty. Turn that the fuck up. Turn it up. Another complaint that this game was getting at the time, and I'm not 100% sure about it myself, was that most of the objectives are go to the place and kill the people, kill the one officer. One, that's pretty much what Dynasty Warriors has always been, and two, that's even that itself isn't true. Like right now, I have to defend Lord Cao Cao from Ma Ting, because he's launching an attack on the castle. He's upset that Cao Cao wants to use the. So the game is more than just, go to a place and kill a bunch of guys. I mean, you will kill a lot of guys. But sometimes it's, set fire to the enemy's stockpile of weapons. Sometimes it's defend, a certain officer. And sometimes there's actually a stealth mechanic in this game. If you put your weapon away and hit Y, you crouch. And if you're not alerted, I'm completely alerted right now, but if I wasn't alerted, I'd be able to sneak up on an enemy officer and assassinate them. So there's some stuff going on in this game other than just killing hordes and hordes of dudes, even though killing hordes and hordes of people is what Dynasty Warriors is at its core. So here's one of the other things that you would be doing a lot of in this particular Dynasty Warriors game is dealing with animals. Now, I'm not going to kill this bear because he's kind of tough looking. I'm actually going to tranquilize him and add him to... Oh, one arrow is all it took. Excellent. So I tranked him, captured him. If I go to a stable right now, I can have him fight alongside me, that bear. And each animal has their own little special things that they do, as well as passive stats that they give you if they're in your area. But other than tranquilizer shots, you also have fire arrows. I don't think they're very effective against bears. Poison arrows. Dispersion, which shoot out like a fan. That's good for a lot of stuff. Dispersion fire. There's also explosive arrows, but these are expensive. But I will go ahead and show you what one looks like. Those are really good against siege weapons. And then there is, of course, the Neanderthal way of dealing with animals. Now, one of the other things that you can do is you can sell your captured animals for hunting points, and those can be traded in for different materials for crafting weapons or upgrading or gems or something. So you can also use some of the animal parts like meat and stuff to cook meals, which are buffs that last longer than, you know, your average sword or armor pickup on the field. So capturing, hunting animals is a good way to get ahead on materials that you need for various weapons that you might want, other accessories or gems. And if you just want some animal companions, there's bears, tigers, wolves, pandas, and elephants.